So now let's clone the repository. There are two ways of doing this. First, we can clone it on our local machine, or we can use Replit. Let me show you both method, uh, but we will further go with the local installation. So let's create a folder inside the main directory, react dash app, then click on it, open an integrated terminal. Now we are in react app folder, type git clone and enter. So it's basically clone the repository. Now go to folder and then run yarn command. That will going to download all the dependencies which are mentioned in package.json file. So in the meanwhile we can check other method also. Let's go to here. I have already logged in, so I can see this screen. Now click on fork REPL. You can name it again and just forget. Okay, I think it's done successfully. Now just click on run. You can see that it is running all the command, and here it is. Great. You can see the app here in the browser using replit.com. So whichever method you preferred, you can work on it. Okay, so it also successfully installed on our local machine. Now run on our local machine yarn start. Here it is. Now you can see that it's created, is deployed successfully on our local machine also. So now go to next step. Let us deploy a smart contract on a real test net. Okay. So go ahead and close the terminal with your local blockchain network running, which is where you ran npx hard hat node. You won't need it anymore. I mainly just wanted to show you how deploying work locally. So let's close the hard hat node terminal, which is local blockchain. So we are going to deploy it on actual blockchain now. So let's see. I have already closed it. So no local blockchain is running right now. So let's start with deploying it on actual blockchain. Go ahead and make an account on QuickNode. Let's create an account on QuickNode. I have already created an account, so I am logged in here. You can create an account and logged in, so you will see this screen. Okay, now what is QuickNode? QuickNode does is it gives you simple way to deploy to real Ethereum blockchain. It's basically provide a node on which you will deploy a blockchain, and that node is a part of a blockchain network. So basically it's a test net, not a main net. Means it's deployed, but it's not on a real Ethereum mainnet. It's deployed on some test net. So let's move on. Transaction. So when we want to perform an action on Ethereum blockchain, we call it transaction. So that is important to remember that every time we make a transaction, we perform some action, add, edit, delete, or anything, any action or any change in state variable. So we are basically doing a transaction. For example, sending someone Ethereum in a transaction, doing something that updates the variables in our contract is also considered a transaction. Okay, so every transaction requires some Ethereum. So when we call wave and it does total values plus one, the transaction deploying a smart contract is also a transaction. So as I said that any increment, decrement, it will considered as a transaction. So remember that blockchain has no owner. It's just a bunch of computers around the world run by a miners that have a copy of a blockchain. When we deploy our contract, we need to tell all these miners, hey, this is a new contract, please add my smart contract to blockchain, and then tell everyone else about it as well. So that was, I have explained earlier that this is where QuickNote comes in. QuickNote essentially helps to broadcast our contract creation transaction so that it can be picked up by miners quickly as possible. Once the transaction is mined, then it is then broadcasted to blockchain as a ledger transaction. From there, everyone updates their copy of the blockchain. This is complicated, and don't worry if you don't fully understand it. As you write more code and actually build this app, it will naturally make more sense. So as I've already created an account on QuickNode, so let's create it. In this video they have defined it. I will show you how we can create an endpoint. Let's create an endpoint. So there are many networks, so we are working on right now. We are deploying on Ethereum network. You can deploy it on other network also. Its mainnet, we are not deploying on it right now. We will going to deploy it on test network. This is Goldie. There were previously there were other network also, test network also, which are deprecated now after the merging of Ethereum. So now we will going to uh, now we're going to use this. Click on it, then continue. Okay, now just go to create endpoint. So that's it, we have created an endpoint. Okay, Now, test nets. We are not going to deploy the Ethereum on mainnet. As I said earlier, we are not going to deploy it on mainnet. We are going to deploy on testnet. Why? Because it costs real dollars. When we deploy a contract, it will cost us an, some amount. So if we're going to deploy that our tutorial on a mainnet, that it will also cost us amount. So it's better to deploy it on a testnet that is free. So we are going to start with a testnet, which is a clone of mainnet, but it uses fake dollar. So it basically uses the fake amount is to simulate how we will work on mainnet. So but it is important to know that testnet are run by actual miners and mimic real world scenarios. So it's basically mimic the real scenario. So it's not something that locally deployed or anything like that. It basically run by the actual miners. This is awesome because we can test our application in real world scenario where we are actually going to broadcast our transaction, wait for it to be picked up by the actual miner, wait for it to be mined, wait for it to broadcast back to the blockchain, telling all the other miners to update their copies. So you will doing many things in our next sections. So now, as we have already added the MetaMask, okay, let me have it. Okay, as we already have a MetaMask, and but we don't have any amount in it. So let's add a fake Ethereum. These are the websites. Click on it.